communication is very important, first of all. If you're having an issue and you're struggling, especially if you're a new agent and whether you've been doing it a long time, there's plenty of people to talk to. I mean, this is just basic stuff we're starting off with here. The topic is having a plan B in adverse situations. Just one very minor correction. January of 2008, I wrote my first application with Equita, January of '08, but I just got to tell you, it's been great. I've told this story a million times before I was with Equita, after I've been with Equita. I mean, from 2003 to 2008, very quickly, if people on the phone haven't heard the story, if there's some new agents that haven't heard it, I ordered off of lead companies. I did this, I did that. And when I was struggling, I would call the lead company, oh, get them next time. Get them next time is what I'd hear. That's the encouragement I got. So just to give you an idea, you get 50 million times better encouragement from Equita Final Expense Services. It's just very important there. And you know, adversity is part of the business. I mean, I got to be honest with you. If you're not running into any adversity at all, you're not seeing enough people or something. Because even the top producers with Equita who do the real top producers will tell you the same thing. They run into adversity too. There's always adversity in this business, but it's a fun business, and I love the business. I don't look at it as a job. I remember one conference call I heard a long time ago. The guy said, if you look at this as a job, you're in trouble. You want to look at this as a career, and that's what I look at it as a career. And actually, I look at it as having fun, getting to talk to people. I'm going to tell you, 95% of the people are very nice that you deal with, and I just wanted to say that's very important. It's just a fun business, but what could make the business unfun, if that's even a word, is adversity. If you don't handle it right, if you don't handle the adversity right, that could create a lot of issues. Trust me, because I've been there. I've been there where I used to not handle it right, and I just want to say, very quickly, I go to God with all my problems. The Lord takes care of my adversity problems, but I ask Him to do it for me because I know I can't do it on my own, and that's just a plain fact what I believe. But talking about adversity, there's a lot of adversity that can happen in this business. So Chase just talked about territory evaluation. I'll touch on that there briefly. In August, it was a big vacation month. My inventory was really low on my mailers, and I wasn't getting a lot of leads. And what I did is I looked at all my areas. I have 6 full counties, and I have another county where I do 3 towns. And I looked at every zip code, and I said, I haven't really seen this one and this one in a while. I told Scott, and Scott emailed Jessica right away. I'm going to tell you, Scott is terrific. Jessica is terrific. All of them, Tammy Johnson, Mika, all the ones that do the applications, Mike, they're all great. I mean, this is a support system that you have here, and if you take advantage of it, it really helps, especially in adverse circumstances. But the inventory on the lead, so I went through the zips, and I mentioned the 2 zips, and right away, within 5 minutes, Scott emailed her. She replied back within 5 minutes, terrific, and guess what? They were ordered 11 months ago last time. My average zip code gets ordered every 8 months, so that was a little over the 8. So guess what happened? Now I'm getting a good flow of leads from those 2 zips. So it's very important, and even if you're new with the company, maybe you missed something when you ordered your zips. I would say this, a 2-hour radius, 2 hours, because I drive anywhere from 70 miles from my house to 10 miles from my house, and the 70 miles is almost a 2-hour drive. And, today I'm going to be driving 40 miles. I got everything in the afternoon today. It's just a door knocking day this afternoon. But it's just very important, because if you do a territory evaluation like Chase was just saying, I'd say every 6 months do it. There could be a zip that you missed. There could be a zip that even Equita missed, and they do a terrific job, but they got to handle so much stuff. So we have to help them because they support us so well. We should also support them in helping them by evaluating our territory periodically like that. And you might get a zip here and there that might not have got ordered on as quick as another zip, and there comes a lot more lead flow is what I'm trying to say there. So just that's very, very important. Like I said, and I did get a lot of leads from those 2 zips when that happened. Now, another thing is no-shows. Okay, now I'm an appointment setter, and I go out and run appointments, and I also door knock every single lead that I can't schedule on the phone. I door knock every single lead that I cannot schedule on the phone. It's very important. How did I learn all that? From listening to these calls. Obviously, being on calls and getting more knowledge will also help you through adverse situations. But here's a situation here like yesterday. I had a terrible day yesterday. I didn't write any premium yesterday, but I'm gonna touch more on it. Why do I have 1,100 up for the week so far? I'll touch on that in a moment. But when you're going on a day, you set up all your leads on, like say Monday, and you're making your appointments on Saturday. On Saturday, you should do all the work and set up all your leads geographically where you're working. This is important. So yesterday I had a 1, a 3 o'clock, and a 4:30 appointment. And in the morning I had nothing. So I went out in the morning and started door knocking. I gave a very nice presentation, very nice guy, and I think I'm going to write him Friday. I feel very positive about it because he hates banks and don't trust banks. He trusted me, I could tell. He trusted the company. He had no problem with any of that, but he doesn't trust banks. So, I hit him with every response in the book. And he says, you make a compelling argument, and I've never heard that before. Well, the responses I gave him I learned from very good producers like Marie Titus, and I heard Joe Chacho mention, and of course my manager, on what to say about if you end up sick in a hospital bed, your Social Security check's still going to be coming in. It's still going to be coming in. So that way the money will be there to take out, because your son's a good person, but if things are chaotic, they might forget to send it in for you, and then the policy will lapse. Things like that, listening to these calls, I just wanted to say there, a little sidetracking there, but that's very important. That's big time important. But this gentleman said he never heard the argument before, and you could tell he's very old-fashioned, but he's a good guy, and he said, look, I'm going to try to make this work quarterly, but if I can't, I might even do it through the bank. But he wants me to stop back Friday morning to see him, and I'm going to do that. But, yeah, then I go to my, I knock on more doors, not home. I go to my 1 o'clock. She had a doctor's appointment come up, never hooked up with her. The next lady, she freezes up and goes, I got to go back on my Facebook. I'm sorry. I should have told you. I'm sorry. I scheduled it today. She calls me on the phone after I give her the card a half hour later and says, I lied to you about my health because I didn't want my grandkid. I didn't want my niece to hear everything. I got very, very bad problems. She just said I can't talk about it. So that was the second one. Then I was telling Chase on the phone earlier this morning, the last appointment, she was going into AFib and her heart rate was 105 and or 135 a minute, and her daughter was on the way picking her up to the hospital. So that's adversity, That was my day yesterday, just to explain to you. It happens to all of us, and it's how we handle it. After that last stop, I just laughed on the way home. Not because I didn't care. Not because I didn't care that I had a bad day. I laughed. I knew I did everything I could. And I laughed on the way home and just shook it off. And that's all part of it, with the adverse circumstances. But what I did do yesterday was I knocked on doors constantly between the no-shows. I had a plan B because I had leads to work besides the no-shows. This happened to me when I was younger in the business. I would go out on appointments. I'd have the day set up, and then I wouldn't have enough in between if I had no-shows, and the no-shows would paralyze me, kill my attitude. I don't allow that no more, because what I do is I make sure I have work no matter what, and I says, just in case this one no-shows me or this one, I have other doors to knock on. Also, let's say you were working the next town or a couple towns over a few weeks before and you got some inventory on some no contacts. Very important, bring them with you as well, because that'll give you enough work to do in case the things don't go perfect like what happened to me yesterday. The plan of attack was good, it just didn't happen for me yesterday, but I'm just giving you an example. That's how you have a successful day, even if things are going very bad for you with adversity. And now that I told you about I have 1,100 up, how do I have 1,100 up if I blanked on Monday? Well, this is how I do my work week. I'm going to explain my schedule real quick. Saturday's the first day of my work week. And what I do Saturday is print my leads up 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Then 9 to 9:30 I start scheduling appointments. And I might go till 4 o'clock in the afternoon Saturday, or I might be done by 1, depending on how successful I am, especially on the morning, where I get a lot of people on the phone, to schedule the appointments. And then I load up Monday and Tuesday. I schedule appointments for Monday and Tuesday. Sunday I do nothing at all with my business. I got Sunday school and church in the morning, and get home, I relax, either do something with one of my sons or watch the football or baseball, whatever's on, relax. But that's my Sunday. And then my Monday and Tuesday, I'm obviously in the field out trying to sell. I'm doing appointments and I'm door knocking. And then Wednesday, I'm back on the phone again setting appointments for Thursday. And then I'm out there again all day Thursday. And then Friday's my personal day. I do the grocery shopping in the morning. Then in the afternoon before the weekend, I take care of all my business. I look at everything on the computer. I make sure there's no troubled policies. I don't want nothing to carry over into the weekend where I got to wait till next week to take care of it. So that's basically gives you an idea of my schedule. So you heard me say I don't go out on Saturdays. I make calls. I don't go out on Wednesdays. Well, in the last couple of weeks, I've had Plan Bs because my numbers have been lower than usual, so I had a couple Plan Bs. I got a phone call last week from a couple. The lady, I wrote her a little over a year ago with Rural Neighbors. They called me up and were interested in life insurance. She gave me a referral on her her daughter and her son-in-law. So here's what happens. I handle the call, and I said, yeah, what time now you work? And he goes, yes, I get home 7 o'clock at night. She says her husband gets home 7 o'clock at night. So I said, I have to see him about 8 o'clock at night. I said, that's no problem. And then she goes, oh, the roofer's supposed to come over, she said. So she's already looking for excuses, even though she's interested. She's looking for excuses to brush me off. So I said, well, what are you doing Saturday? Now, remember, I said I don't go out Saturdays, right? What are you doing Saturday? Well, I did a Plan B because of my numbers being lower than usual. I went out Saturday to that appointment at 1. I knew there was about an 80% chance I was going to sell it. And if I didn't, I would have been home a lot quicker. But I was there for 2 hours, and I wrote $1,100 in premium this past Saturday. So even though I blanked yesterday, I still got $1,100 up for the week because my first day of my work week is Saturday. So, and when I got back to the house, it was like 4:30, so it was too late to make more calls. So I'm a little light on appointments these first 2 days, and today's strictly door knocking. So I'm going to have fun doing that this afternoon into this evening. But there's an example of an adverse situation, with the production being a little lower than it should be, and I was able to make an $1,100 sale on Saturday, which really takes the heat off there. So that's another example, with the schedule. Last Wednesday, I had a situation with Rural Neighbors where they declined, or they rated them graded for nitrostat. I called the company and said, you mean to tell me you had one hit? It was almost 2 years ago, and you can't make an exception. So I've been writing for them a long time. I got a lot of business with them. And if you had a lot of business with a company, they're going to work with you. So she made me a deal a couple weeks ago. If I could get a doctor's note, they would reverse the decision. So what happened, I just said earlier, I make phone calls on Wednesdays. I don't go out on Wednesdays, right? Well, last Wednesday I was setting stuff up for Thursday. I left the house, drove 35 miles, got the doctor's note in Hamilton, New Jersey, came back to the house, faxed the doctor's note into Rural Neighbors. It was in my commission report. It was on my commission report Friday and in my bank account Monday. So I'm just saying, once again, another adverse situation and having a Plan B. I'm just giving you examples how to overcome the negatives when we do have it, and there are negatives sometimes. And I wanted to touch on that. And the other thing I wanted to say is I try to give a minimum of 8 to 10 presentations a week if I have 15 leads. If I'm working 17 to 20 leads, I shoot for 10 to 12 presentations a week. Because if we have that goal and each week we're trying to give that amount of presentations, the more people we see, that's going to help us also, overcome the adverse circumstances. But the last example I want to give, this is the last example. August was my worst month in a couple years, but it ended up not being. It ended up being probably my weakest month of the year so far, but it wasn't my weakest month in a couple years. I'll tell you why. The whole month of August, on near the end of the month, I only had like $4,400 in premium. And the last week of August, my wife has offered her job, and we always take a vacation that week. But this was different. We wanted to do stuff around the house and only do a couple day trips. We weren't going away anywhere. So I went to my wife and said, Mary Ann, listen, I need to go out 2 days, just Monday and Tuesday. I know I'm supposed to take that whole week off before Labor Day weekend, and plus I said Labor Day weekend's a short week anyway, Labor Day week. So I said, look, I just want to take Monday and Tuesday. Can I do that? and then the rest of the week we'll do what we want. And she said, no problem, because she knows the business too. It's important that your spouse, your significant other, it's important they know the business, because she knows the business. I didn't have to talk to her for a half hour about it. I only had to talk to her about it for 5 minutes, not even. And what happened was I went out Monday and wrote one app for $200 and some in premium. So so I'm still in the 4,000s. So Tuesday I had some appointments and I knew I had some chances. And it's like 3 o'clock. I don't have nothing sold. I call Scott Meyer up because I'm down in the dumps. And I ain't going to lie to you, I was down in the dumps. I mean, I really was working hard. Nothing was happening. Me and Scott talked for 15 minutes. We joke around, shoot the breeze. I had a little downtime. I had a 4 o'clock appointment I'm supposed to go to coming up. So that no shows me. So I door knock one. Husband, wife. Got into the presentation. $2,100 premium. Boom. And then I go to my last appointment of the day. $600 premium. I do $3,100. That was the last day before before I took off the 6 days for Labor Day and all that, and it just made me feel great. I felt fantastic about it. I was still disappointed I didn't do my minimum of 10, which I like to do a minimum of 10 every month, and that's usually what I wanted to be my worst case. I ended up doing like 7,500, but it was a kick in the butt, and just. That was a plan B all the way, because I had no intentions of going out at all that week. And I wanted to give different examples today. Like I said, when it comes to my adversity, I always use the Lord for guidance. And I asked him for guidance, and he gave it to me. and like I said, just listening to some of the great people on these calls, with examples, I've learned and did things there too, trying to get better, and I'm still trying to get a lot better. And my goal is to get better every year, and it's just a little bit each year. It's been going like a quick example I'll just give you. I don't want to bore you guys, but like in 2008, I probably did about 70 to 80 in premium. 2009, I did 100,000. 2010, I did 101. 2011, I did 92. It was a very tough year personally. And 2012, 129, 2013, 131, and I'm sitting on 97 right now. In 2014, I'm on pace for about 135 to 140, which would be a little better. That's my goal, to get better each year, and I just wanted to add that. And another thing too, you're going to have personal adversity in your life, which has nothing to do with the business. This one's an easy one, guys. When you're out seeing the people, that don't exist. I got taught that years ago. Put the blinders on. When you're out seeing the people, no personal things exist. Nothing exists that's personal. It has nothing to do with the business, because when you're out selling, you can't allow that to negatize you. You have to forget about it when you're out and get selective amnesia, and that's what I do there. So that's about all I have, Chase, today.